When Clara hit 66, her loved ones nudged her toward romance. "You are still full of life," they said. "Do not let your golden years pass in solitude." Reluctantly, she opened her heart. She met a man, kind, attentive. With a smile that warmed the room, he shared her coffee dates, laughed at her stories, and made her feel seen. At least in the beginning, but soon, Clara noticed her world shifting. Her early yoga sessions faded to match his late mornings. Her quiet evenings with jazz records gave way to his preference for talk shows. She caught herself holding back her thoughts. Not for fear, but to keep the harmony. One quiet night, sitting by her window, the silence felt strained, not soothing. In that moment, she whispered a truth that changed everything. "I long for my own space." It was not about his heart or their bond. It was about the price of her peace. In a world that celebrates coupling as the ultimate goal, what if choosing yourself after 65 is the truest act of strength? This video is not here to judge love. It is about embracing the power of saying, "I am enough alone." It is about shattering the stigma of solo living in later years and seeing solitude as a haven, not a gap. Today, we will explore 9 heartfelt reasons why staying single after 65 might be your wisest, most joyful choice. And the 9th reason, it is the one you may have felt deep down but never voiced. Let us begin. Reason 1. Your home is your sacred haven. After 65, your living space transforms into more than walls and furniture. It becomes a mirror of your soul, a sanctuary woven from years of care and quiet joys. The armchair by the window holds your morning reflections. The kitchen counter carries the scent of your favorite herbs. Every corner, from the soft glow of a lamp to the creak of a familiar floorboard, feels like an extension of you. This is not just a place to rest. It is where your heart breathes freely, where every detail aligns with your rhythm. At this stage, your home is your peace, and you guard it fiercely. Consider Martha Cesar, who lived alone for years. Her house, a tapestry of her life's simple pleasures. When she met David at a local book club, his warm smile and thoughtful nature drew her in. They grew close, and soon he began staying over. His belongings creeping in: a jacket on the chair, dishes in the sink, a radio on the counter. At first, it felt cozy, but the shift was subtle. David liked bright lights, while Martha cherished soft ones. He left windows open, disrupting her quiet evenings. His habits clashed with her carefully crafted calm. One morning, reaching for her teapot, only to find it moved, she felt a pang. Her home no longer felt like hers. It was as if her sanctuary had been rearranged without her consent. Choosing to stay single after 65 is not about isolation. It is about preserving the space that holds your essence. In youth, you might have shared rooms, adjusted to others' quirks, and called it love. But now, those compromises feel like surrendering your peace. Your home is where you live, unfiltered eating when you wish, sitting in silence without questions, keeping the air just as you like it. A partner, even a kind one, brings changes that can unsettle this harmony. You have spent years building a space that nurtures you. Protecting it is not stubbornness. It is self-respect. Your home is not just where you reside. It is where you reconnect with yourself. And if someone enters, they should feel like an extension of your calm, not a disruption of it. This sanctuary is yours, earned through a lifetime of care. Reason 2, you are weary of carrying others. By the time you reach 65, you have spent decades being the steady hand, the listener, the one who steps up when life demands it. You have soothed tears, managed crises, cooked endless meals, and sat through long nights of worry for those you love. Your heart remains open, but your soul is tired, not just from the effort, but from the weight of always being the anchor. Love is still precious, but the thought of becoming someone's caregiver again feels like a load too heavy to lift. After years of giving, you long for rest, for days that are yours, for a life where your energy is not tethered to someone else's needs. Take James, Liu Shaba, who found connection at a local choir. He met Linda, a woman with a bright spirit and a voice that lifted every song. They bonded quickly, sharing suppers and stories, their laughter filling quiet evenings. But as months passed, Linda's health faltered. It began with small complaints, then frequent doctor visits, then a steady stream of needs. James, ever the helper, took on the role without question. He drove her to appointments, picked up prescriptions, and managed her errands. But soon, his own joys faded. His morning hikes stopped, his guitar gathered dust, and his quiet moments vanished. One day, waiting in a hospital lobby for yet another test result, he felt a pang of truth. He had not chosen this path knowingly. He had slipped back into a role he thought he had left behind, and it was draining the light from his days. Choosing to stay single after 65 is not about refusing love. It is about honoring your limits. It is admitting that your strength, though vast, is no longer boundless. You have given so much, held so many through their storms. Now, you deserve ease, not obligation. This is not about turning away from care, but about protecting your own spirit. You are allowed to choose freedom over duty, to savor your time without the weight of someone else's struggles. Your heart has carried enough. Now, it is your turn to rest, to breathe, to live for you. Reason 3, your freedom is your sacred space. After 65, a quiet liberty blooms in your life. Not loud or defiant, but soft and profound. It is the joy of waking when your body chooses, eating what delights you, filling your hours with whims, or leaving them blissfully empty. This freedom is not about breaking free from chains. It is about living without needing anyone's nod of approval. As you age, this ability to shape your days becomes more than a comfort. It becomes holy, a gift you protect with gentle resolve. You have earned the right to move through life on your own terms, guided only by your heart's rhythm. Thomas Teacher had grand dreams for his later years. He pictured long drives through mountain towns, sketching landscapes, and spending weeks by the sea with no schedule. Then he met Grace, a woman with a warm laugh and a love for cozy evenings. Their time together felt easy at first, filled with shared meals and soft conversations. But soon, Thomas noticed his plans shifting. Grace preferred staying close to home, her routines rooted in familiarity. To keep her happy, he shelved his travel ideas, traded his sketchbook for movie nights, and let his dreams wait. He called it compromise, but deep down, it felt like fading. His days no longer sang with possibility. Choosing to stay single after 65 is not a rejection of connection. It is a vow to preserve your spirit's space. It is about reclaiming the you that existed before you bent to fit others' needs. The joy of reading past midnight, napping in the afternoon, or wandering without explaining why these are not small things. They are your life's pulse. You have spent decades balancing others' wishes. Now, your freedom is the reward for all you have given. It is not selfish to guard it. It is reverence for the life you have built. A relationship, even a kind one, asks for adjustments that can dim your spark. You deserve to keep every moment that makes you feel alive. This freedom is not just a treasure, it is the legacy of your resilience. Reason 4, Your calm is your sanctuary. Past 65, a soft stillness settles into your life, arriving not with noise or grandeur, but in the gentle rhythm of your mornings, the unhurried pace of your choices, the quiet hum of a day that belongs to you. This peace is more than a fleeting comfort. It is a vital force, a shield for your mind and body that you hold dear. When you were younger, you might have brushed off tension, navigated conflicts, and slept soundly after emotional storms. But now, stress feels heavier. It lingers in your muscles, steals your rest, and clouds your clarity. The emotional weight you once managed now feels like an unwelcome guest. Sarah, 69, opened her heart to love again. She met a man at a community dance. Charming, with a knack for lively conversation. They shared evenings, swaying to old tunes and swapping stories over tea. At first, it felt like a warm new beginning. But soon, small frictions surfaced. He was particular about plans, easily unsettled by spontaneity. Sarah found herself tweaking her schedule, skipping her morning stretches to match his routine, softening her words to avoid his disapproval. Her once peaceful evenings grew tense, her sleep uneven. One day, after canceling her book club to calm his mood, she sat quietly and felt a truth take root. She did not crave his presence. She craved her calm, the smooth flow of her days, the freedom to live without guarding her every step. That was her true refuge. Staying single after 65 is not about turning away from others. It is about protecting your health, your balance, your inner light. It is knowing that even gentle emotional ripples can disturb your well-being in ways you cannot afford. You can still laugh with friends, share moments with family, and welcome connection. But you also have the right to say, I have fought for this peace. I will not trade it for a bond that asks me to brace myself again. This choice is not distant. It is sacred. Once you have tasted true calm, no relationship is worth its loss. At this age, peace is not just a haven. It is your power. Reason 5. You will not settle out of doubt. After 65, a subtle pressure can creep in. Not loud or harsh, but persistent, like a whisper in your ear. You are getting older. It says, do not be too choosy. What if no one else comes along? These thoughts do not always stem from loneliness, but from a world that insists being alone is a flaw to fix, a void to fill. The fear of missing out on companionship can nudge you toward a relationship, not because it sets your heart alight, but because it feels safe, like a shield against an uncertain future. Yet settling for comfort over connection often leads to a deeper ache. Take Laura, 69, who had carved out a contented life alone, filled with gardening, evening walks, and quiet joys. But as friends paired off and social gatherings felt smaller, a flicker of panic set in. Was she missing something? When she met Tom at a community event, he was steady, kind, and available. He was not thrilling, but he was not unkind. Laura agreed to date him, not because he stirred her soul, but because he seemed like a sensible choice. Months in, though, she felt a hollow truth. Tom did not share her passions, nor did he spark her laughter. He was present, but she felt unseen. Her days dimmer than before. Sitting alone one night, she realized she was lonelier with him than she had ever been on her own. The fear of solitude had tricked her into a bond that dulled her spirit. Choosing to stay single after 65 is not about being picky. It is about trusting your worth. It is knowing that your time is too precious, your heart too full, to give to someone who does not make you feel alive. Settling does not ease fear, it trades it for regret. You do not need a partner to complete you. You need connections that honor the richness you already carry. The truest loneliness is not living alone, it is sharing your days with someone who cannot see your light. By choosing yourself, you say no to half-hearted bonds and yes to a life that feels whole. Your peace, your joy, your truth, they are worth more than any companionship that asks you to shrink. This choice is not fear. It is faith in the life you have built. Reason 6, you have let go of the perfect love story. Once, you held tight to the idea of a grand romance, shaped by books, films, or the glow of others' tales, a love that would sweep in to every loose end and make your life whole. You believed the right person would arrive, filling your days with meaning, as if love alone could complete you. But life, with its twists and lessons, has shown you something truer. Love does not always look like a fairy tale. Sometimes, it asks you to find your own strength, to build your own joy. After 65, you measure happiness not by who stands beside you, but by how full your heart feels when you are alone. With the morning sun and a quiet cup of coffee, consider Diane, Chishisan, who had loved deeply through marriage and raised a family, always tying her worth to those she held close. After years of giving, she found herself alone, not with sorrow, but with a surprising calm, sitting on her balcony, watching the sky shift. She felt a stillness she had not known before. It was not the rush of romance, but a steady warmth. A sense that her life was enough as it was. She no longer yearned for someone to complete her story. Her story was already unfolding, written in moments of solitude that felt like home. When a friend suggested dating, she smiled and declined, not out of fear, but because she no longer needed a partner to feel whole. Choosing to stay single after 65 is not about closing the door on love. It is about releasing the myth that your life needs a romantic ending to shine. You have lived enough to know that happiness does not require a co-star. It lives in the quiet of your evenings, the freedom of your choices, the peace of a day that answers only to you. If love comes, let it be a gentle addition, not a force that reshapes your calm. Your worth is not tied to a partner. It is rooted in the life you have crafted. This choice is not a surrender. It is a celebration of a truth you have earned. Your story is beautiful, not because it matches a dream, but because it is yours, whole and unbroken. Reason 7, you choose joy over duty. For much of your life, you lived by what was expected. You showed up for others, kept promises, hosted gatherings, and carried the weight of obligations, not always because you wanted to, but because it felt like your role. You said yes when your heart whispered no, attended events out of courtesy, and filled your days with tasks that served everyone but you. Joy, when it came, was a fleeting guest, rarely the focus. But now, after 65, something has shifted. You crave moments that spark lightness, that make you smile without effort. You want your time to pulse with meaning, not just habit. Picture Ruth, Chisher, whose calendar once brimmed with commitments, family errands, neighborly coffees, group outings. She was the one everyone counted on. Always present, always giving, but one quiet afternoon, after another draining visit left her empty, she paused at her dining table and asked herself, "Why am I still doing this?" The question lingered, unanswered by habit or guilt. So, she began saying no. She cleared her weekends, skipped the usual rounds, and something beautiful unfolded. She laughed more freely. Lingado were had painting, savored mornings with no rush. Joy, once a stranger, became her guide, leading her to choices that fed her spirit. not her sense of duty. Staying single after 65 lets you chase joy without apology. It frees you to fill your days with what lifts you, whether that is tending your garden at dawn, losing yourself in a novel, or simply resting when your body asks. You no longer bend to the needs of others, no longer sacrifice your spark for politeness. This is not about cutting ties, it is about choosing what nourishes you. After years of putting others first, joy is no longer a luxury. It is your right. Be guarding your time. You rediscover a brightness within, a warmth that grows when you honor what makes you feel alive. This choice is not selfish. It is a reclaiming of the light you have always carried. Now, free to shine without restraint. Reason 8, you are done justifying your life. For years, you have clarified your choices, softened your thoughts, and defended your quiet moments to fit others' expectations. You have answered why you prefer solitude, why you savor certain habits, why you choose silence over chatter. The effort to be understood has been a constant hum, draining your spirit. Now, you seek something far greater than approval, the freedom to simply be, without a single explanation. Ode, Grace. 71. A woman of gentle words and private joys. She loved her mornings, spent knitting by the window, her evenings lost in classical music. When she began dating Henry, a kind man from her walking group, his curiosity felt warm at first, but soon, his question piled up. Why do you knit so much? Don't you get lonely by yourself? Why skip the group dinners? His words were not harsh, but they wore her down, each one a nudge to justify her ways. One day, after cutting short her music to take his call, Grace felt a truth rise. She was not tired of being misread. She was tired of feeling she had to be read at all. She wanted to live without defending her peace. Choosing to stay single after 65 grants you a precious gift, the space to exist as you are. You no longer need to explain why you love your early bedtimes, why you linger in your garden, or why you prefer a quiet night to a crowded one. Your life, your pace, your joys, they are yours. No justification required. This is not about shutting others out. It is about claiming the right to move through your days unscrutinized. The people who matter will see you and smile. New questions asked. They will honor your silence, your choices, your calm, without needing you to spell it out. At this stage, the truest connection is not found in explanations, but in presence, those who sit beside you and let you be, fully, freely. This choice is not withdrawal, it is liberation. A bold step into a life where your only answer to why is, because it is me? Reason 9. You fear losing yourself, not solitude. People often think choosing to stay single after 65 stems from a dread of being alone, but for many, the real fear is far deeper. It is the worry of slipping back into a version of yourself you fought to leave behind, a version that dimmed your light, hushed your voice, and shrank your spirit to fit someone else's world. You have tasted the freedom of being whole, of living without bending to another's needs. And the thought of trading that for companionship feels like a betrayal of the self you have reclaimed. Take Helen, 69, who had loved and lost through decades of relationships. She had molded herself to partners, softening her edges, silencing her quirks, all for the sake of harmony. Now, standing in her cozy living room, sunlight streaming through the curtains, she felt a quiet strength. She played her favorite folk tunes loudly, danced without care, and spoke her thoughts freely. No one asked her to change, to shrink, to explain. When a friend suggested dating, Helen paused. She was not afraid of loneliness. She was afraid of losing this, her unfiltered self. Her days shaped by her own rhythm, a relationship, even a good one. Often ask for pieces of you, your habits tweaked, your words measured, your space shared. Over time, those small surrenders can erode the you that feels most true. Choosing to stay single after 65 is not a wall against love. It is a vow to protect your essence. It is knowing that true connection should never ask you to trade your identity for closeness. You are not running from solitude, you are running toward yourself. Toward the voice you have nurtured, the peace you have built. This choice is not about fear. It is about courage, about refusing to barter your wholeness for company. You have spent too long finding your way back to you to let that go. If love comes, let it be a soft addition, not a force that reshapes who you are. Your life, as it is not a placeholder. It is a triumph, a home for the self you have become. This is not rejection. It is reverence for the soul you have reclaimed. We have shared 9 truths, each a testament to choosing yourself after 65. If these resonate, you know you are not alone or flawed. You are awakening to a life where peace outshines romance. Your joy, your calm, your freedom, they are enough. Love may come, but it must honor your spirit, not reshape it. This is your home, built with courage. Like, share, or comment with your favorite reason. Subscribe for more heartfelt truths. Until next time, may your days be yours, filled with quiet strength,